The foundation of all good qualities by Lama Tsongkhapa. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the price of freedom of this rebirth is found only once, it's greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After that, just like a shadow follows a body, the results of virtues and non-virtues come and follow. Finding firm, definite conviction in this, please bless me to always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great question arise. The root of the teachings is keeping the Pratimaksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all Mother migratory beings. Please bless me to see this trained in Supreme Bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of free migratory beings. Even if I develop Bodhicitta but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I've pacified distraction to wrong objects and correctly analyzed their meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within the mind stream the unified path of Karma Bharat special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gate of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledge them my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, every giving of the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who showed the noble path and the spiritual friends who have practiced their long lives, please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Okay, we will, page 50, the 3 verses to take the expression Bodhisattva vow. So the purpose for us to study, reflect and meditate on the Mahamoudra, let us not forget, is to become Buddha for the venerable sentient beings. With this mind, let's recite these 3 verses. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Model offering. English, page 40. Let us pray to all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, all the Gurus in the lineage of this teaching, Mahamoudra, to bless us that our mind becomes so agile and so fertile to penetrate into the Mahamoudra as intended by the great Buddha, the enlightened masters in the lineage of this tradition, for the benefit of all dear mother sentient beings. This ground anointed with perfumes, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha filled on over it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. O Sajebe Ge Joje Mando Tam Sanye Shendo Me De Buvaye Jogunanda Shelo Chemarai Sho. The four Dhammas of Venerable Kambupa. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practices on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is freed of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. The four Dhammas of Venerable Bhikshu Mahasattva. Becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps at true existence, please bless me to generate genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as viciously repulsive. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Rana Mende Lagam Nirateya Me. Okay, we are on page the 117. Okay, page 117. Yeah. Having condensed the essence of the ocean of sutra and tantric advice, I'll write down the instructions of the Ganden oral traditions of the Mahamoudra, of the Supreme Siddha Dhamma Vajra, and his followers who give sound instructions. This has three parts: preparation, actual practice, and conclusion. First, the preparation. First, earnestly go for refuge and general bodhicitta, which we did already. And since these are the gateway and the central pillar of the teachings, and especially the Mahayana, they should not be mere words. So this is what I've been emphasizing so much from the earlier classes, that the refuge, bodhicitta, and reciting these are very important verses. Okay, if you don't know the meaning, that's a different story. If you don't know the meaning, we have to learn the meanings. Whereas once you know the meaning, then try best not to let just the words flow, but the meanings are reflected in your mind. And over time, as you practice with extensive studies, reflection, then you practice, you will see that the experiences will come to you. And with this experience, as you recite these verses, what you read one time is going to be far more beneficial, far more meritorious than reading it like 100,000 times without reflecting meanings and the invoking experiences. So this you will get experience later on. When you get some experience of what wow, this just one line is so powerful, you will feel that. And otherwise, when you don't, let's say the have extensive studies, when you don't go for extensive studies, extensive learning and meditation, even if you read many pages, you don't feel anything. I remember my teacher, who spent 30-40 years in solitude in the mountains for his personal retreat. So sometimes he would say that just one line of Lama Tsongkhapa, just one line makes him just lost in admiration, and he would just pray that he forever till Buddhahood be connected with the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa. So this is what he would tell me. And then for us, just reading like 3 pages, nothing is there. For him, because of the experience has been invoked, this is different. So this is exactly what is taught here. The refuge in Bodhicitta, the refuge. The refuge tells you that you are, so in some very standard texts, you find ways represented, but I would say that today in the world of the globalization, the first thing that this will, the refuge will make you qualified as a Buddhist. This will differentiate you from Buddhist from non-Buddhist. Okay, say yes, this is what you find in the text, but what I would say that because in the refuge, that I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha for what? For total liberation, for total Buddhahood, for myself and for others. So this is what demarcates from who aspires, rather than saying Buddhist and non-Buddhist. As for non-Buddhists, they are so bad, right? But in the earlier times, it's fine. Now the world of globalization is quite scary. You can see that, when you say, this demarcates you from being a Buddhist, from non-Buddhist. If you say this, some people may that you're a fanatic. Yeah, so we should be very careful. In the olden times, it's perfect. But again, it's my way of taking it. And yes, very recently, why I'm saying this is that globalized world, the beauty of the Buddha's teaching, one of the beauties of Buddha's teaching is that is so adaptable. The Buddha emphasized the need for us to adapt to the time and the place. As time changes, we should be able to see things slightly differently according to the time. And as the place changes, we should adapt accordingly. Why I'm sharing this is that recently we had a conference organized by Tibet House, Theravada, and a minor tradition on the concept of selflessness and emptiness, anatta, and then anatman. And one of the geshes, I'm not going to mention name, he may not be too exposed, he's young. So this is a problem with youth, young people, not experienced. And I also went through the same process earlier. And then he was demarcating between the various levels of the selflessness. And then, of course, the Theravadins could see that the version of the selflessness that they're talking about is more like the gross ones. And what they are talking about is the subtle ones. And then the Geshe said that without knowing the subtle one, there's no liberation. There's no Buddhahood. Then after that, the Theravada master, Theravada monk, there was all luckily it's happening on the online, not the in person. Otherwise, I don't know what's the consequence. Then the Theravada monk said that yes, there are traditions who always say that my tradition is best. So openly, the Theravada monk said like this, because he was offended by what was said before, which was very skillful, right? So what I say is that, so now, this is Buddhist, and then if you don't do this, then you are not Buddhist. So this classification, I would say in today's time, we should be a little careful. So instead, I would say that, yes, that's very true. That if you say that, I want to become Buddha, you fall in this category, wishing to become Buddha, and those who do not wish to become Buddha. And, may I, may I have the communion with the God. Oh, you are the one who wants communion with the God, and the Buddhists, they don't want to have the communion with the God. This distinction is very clear. Everybody accepts it. So maybe today's time, that's better. This is what I see. Okay. So the point is that with the refuge, but for sure, with the refuge, if you have a very strong refuge, then naturally you are going towards nirvana and Buddhahood. If for yourself, then it's nirvana. If for all other beings, it's Buddhahood. You're going in that direction. That's for sure. If you don't have a strong refuge, or if you don't take refuge at all, which means that you are not going in that direction. And it doesn't mean that, for example, in this globalized world, that somebody believes in God, then you will not take refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. That's fine. That's fine. For them, that person going to his God, right? Whether God exists or not is not a business, right? So respect that. And whereas in the philosophy, in the studied philosophy, where to say that everything is just mental impurity, you have to know this. If you don't know this, then you will be trapped by this. In this context, then the philosophical debates can happen. Whether the God exists, not exists. This is a purely philosophical discussion. For your own growth, that's one thing. When you engage with other people, there's no need to debate. There's no need to argue. There's no need to say that what you believe in is wrong. No, why should we have to say this? They have their own faith. It helps them. That's wonderful. Yeah. So this is far better than people, who just believe in killing others, who believe in, on the national level, just bullying others, killing others. And so these people who believe in God, this is just so good, amazing. Yeah. Okay. With this in mind, now somebody who goes a little deeper to see that, okay, I want to extract the meaning out of my life. So meaning, people see that there are different meanings. So if you feel that the meaning of the fearlessness comes from refuge, the meaning of the infinite happiness or full enlightenment is the ground, is the refuge. If that is what you believe in, then this is a whole different story. So for this, what demarcates you from the going to this direction or seeing samsara all the time, then that's demarcated by the refuge. If the refuge, you're going towards the freedom from samsara. So this is the meaning of what in the olden times, or what many people would call as, this demarcates between Buddhist and non-Buddhist. In simple terms, somebody who turns towards nirvana and who does not turn towards nirvana. That's it. As simple as that. So that is the refuge. And as in the mornings, while I remind you, it's also a reminder for me. It's very helpful when I share my thoughts with others. They also, of course, it's not just sharing. This is what I sense all my last, more like now 30 years. That sometimes in hurry I have to do the prayers, I have to go to attend the class, the debate, then I have to finish the prayers, then no meanings reflected, and then days pass like this, and suddenly, like a wake up, they're waking up, and then then you read, it's very different. You read the meanings reflected. You could feel that there is the deeper seed implanted, versus reading very quickly for the sake of completing reading it. There's no seed implanted. Even if seed implanted, it's so minuscule that you can feel. So, for the refuge, visualize all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, so loving, caring, and embracing. This is so important. If you don't have it, then the refuge is very weak. And this feeling must be very strong. And when you practice bodhicitta, when you start to feel a little bit of your mind expanding towards others, then you can imagine that all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they really feel that towards me. If this is not what one feels, you cannot be a Buddha and you cannot be a Bodhisattva. You could feel it. Okay, so therefore, it's very important to view them as extremely loving, caring, and embracing. No matter what you do, look at the mother and the children. Mother and small children, however mischievous, however naughty the children are but the mother's love is so much. No matter how mischievous the child is, everybody looks down upon a child. The mother's always there to embrace the child, protect the child. This is what all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel towards us. Yes, and this is not a fabrication. This is not an exaggeration. This is exactly what is happening. The only thing is that till we have an example can be twofold. One is to see somebody outside there who gives such love and unconditional love towards others. Number two is yourself. You feel that yourself. Then that is more powerful than to see somebody else giving this unconditional love towards others, versus you actually feeling some expansion of your heart happening. And then you feel that this is extremely powerful. Then you can imagine that, yes, this is the meaning of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. No matter what we do, they will never, let us down. They will forever embrace us with so total love and affection. Okay, so that is what the great teacher, Benjamin Lobsang Chogyam, is teaching us, saying that the preparation, the first part, first earnestly go for refuge and generate bodhicitta, since these are the gateway and the central pillar of the teachings, and especially the Mahayana, they should not be mere words. And the bodhicitta, likewise, bodhicitta, your parents, your children, all the sentient beings. So, seeing in this world today, wherever in the world today, we see that your what do you call it? Your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your children. Generally speaking, your relationship towards the children is like you sacrifice everything. Your relationship towards your parents is okay. Yeah, when you're so vulnerable, I love you so much. When you reach age 16, 17, 18, you become more, self-sufficient. Then it's like a responsibility. It's like an obligation. And you wholeheartedly coming is very difficult. Okay, this is what I just like to share with you. My teacher, Venerable the Geshe Damdul, a great philosopher and the say Laura and Sophie, Ben and Anna, they must have heard about this Geshe Damdul so oftentimes in my talk. And Ajala. So he's a great philosopher, amazing, refined philosopher. And sometimes I'm very fortunate that he gives special attention to me, and then in the evenings I would escort him for just for a walk, and then he would. Just on the way, very casually, he would teach me many things. And then I also had many questions. I would ask questions, and he's the right person. It would just have like encyclopedia brain, things coming out. And then then after about 3 years, I asked a question. At that point, he became a little upset. You know why? He said that, you asked the same question 3 years ago, and I already gave the answer. So then he must have felt, what happened? I thought that he's grabbing everything I taught. But then, to my amazement, after 3 years, he's like the same question, which means that he did not get what I told him 3 years ago. Okay, this is extremely memorable in my mind. Okay, so I said it? Oh, I said it? Huh? Yes, how? Huh?
It's like an obligation to take care of the parents.
Yes. But how it connected to this thing? Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I lost the track of the I lost track of this thought. Okay, so the point is that the love towards the children, that is really strong. Love to the parents is, oh, yes. Okay, thank you. Good. He has a student, Australian student. And this student became a monk. And because he became a Buddhist monk, his parents were totally upset. The parents must be staunch Christians. They were totally upset. And the parents, in fact, he was already grown up. He was not like a small child. He was all grown up. He must be in his 20s or 30s. And the parents, they explicitly were telling others that we disown this boy. Disown this boy. Then what happened was that the parents, they grew old and they needed help, and he had other siblings also. And then the other siblings, they were busy with their own family. For them, the parents and their own children, which is more important? Your children more important. And they cannot come to help the parents. Parents are so old. They're desperately in need of help. They could not move around. And then he left everything and went to help the parents. The parents already disowned him. But because they need somebody to help them, and he's there giving time, resource, everything to the parents. And the parents were so fascinated. Wow, this is something so different of Buddhist. So, my son became Buddhist, we disown him, and he's the one who's taking care of us, and my other children, they are not taking care of us. So this is where I would say that it's not about a religious concept, but this is where the Buddha emphasized so much on the need to take care of children, take care of parents. This is so emphasized. Because of this, we see that in the Buddhist world, be it the Asians or the Westerners, who is particularly somebody who is a monastic. Of course, the monastic, they are more free, number one. And number two, they say we see that the parents usually, where in the family, if there's a monastic and non-monastics, the parents, they're actually supported by the monastics. This is what we noticed. And his parents were so fascinated. Then they started to love this monk the most out of all the other siblings. From all the children, that the two parents, they start to love this son, the monk, the most later on. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this love of the parents, and I really appreciate, when it begins also, I really appreciate how actually we saw him, how he's taking care of the father. And that's amazing. I really appreciate. This is so beautiful. And the Buddha said that, yes, if you take care of parents, we talked about the law of karma. So where, say, doing the same action of virtue towards the neutral person or towards another person versus towards your parents is going to be like 1,000,000 times you accrue more merit. So this is the point. So the Buddhas particularly, and logically speaking, yes, children, what did they do to you? Finally, what you want is, say you're born, they want you're born, you don't say that, oh, I came here to take care of my children. No, you're crying. I'm suffering. I don't want to suffer. I want happiness. This is how we're born. This is reality. And who helped you? Your children didn't help you. They're yet to come. Your parents helped you. Your parents give you everything and you forgot them. This is what happens. And recently, one anecdote happened. It's very, very sad. I want to share this openly with the recording, because if the person hears this, it's not that good. In other words, there was a choice between your parents and your child. And your child is not like, child is going through a dire illness, sickness and so forth. No. Child is already grown up, like age, say, the 12, 13, 14, 15. And your parents, they could hardly walk. They need help. And they requested for your help. And the two things clash. And you can easily ask your partner, ask your neighbor to help your child. And the child is also extremely active. Doesn't really require help. But your parents, they are requesting you, please help me to take care. And you declined. Because that it coincided with having to take care of your child. And this can easily be done. Somehow. I heard this and then I realized, wow. This is where the Buddha's teaching is required. And logically speaking, this is totally against the logic. Logically speaking, that somebody who gives you so much of love and affection and just give you resources, time, energy, everything after you, and then at a time you have your children, that becomes your secondary. Your child becomes number one. At least if these two are seen as same, that's good. And this is how much you do to your child, and now your child will do the same thing towards you. You are secondary. You have given everything. How hurt will you be? Just imagine. This is a logical inconsistency in the behavior of the human beings. Very sad. Okay. So for the bodhicitta, is again reflecting on the visualizing two parents, all the children, and all the other sentient beings with you. And here again, it should not be just words, it should be with the meaning and experience. Say, just for parents, that's easy. Easy meaning that if you go back in time, that when I was, so today I'm 55, when you were 40, when you were 30, but when you were 20, when you were 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, when you were just 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, where you can't live without your parents. You go back in time, then you feel that this is how much love that I got. You think about this. And then it'll become stronger, stronger, stronger. You do have the imprint, very strong imprint. It only goes down there. It doesn't come on the surface. Because as you become more and more self-confident, and somebody else came as your child or children, and it's shifted, but actually it's not missing. It is there. It's not lost. It is there. The only thing is that you think about it more, then gradually it'll come on the surface. And then it'll manifest in you. You feel the tremendous love towards your parents. You will feel it. It's so precious. Okay. So it says that firstly, earnestly go for refuge and genuine bodhicitta, since these are the gateway and the central pillar of the teachings, and especially the Mahayanas. They should not be mere words. Because seeing the reality of mind depends on amassing collections and purifying negativity. Collections meaning accumulation merit, and the purifying the negativities. First, recite the 100-syllable mantra at least 100,000 times, and do as many hundreds of prostrations as you can while reciting confession downfalls. In other words, here, so much of merit accumulation required and so much of purification is required. So, because merit accumulation to give energy to the mind, and purification required so that the mind doesn't behave in the undesired way. Impurities, mental defilements, they make a mind to behave in a very nasty way. So when it behaves very differently, it's not your natural state. You will not see the nature of your mind because it's very different, very in contrast to your true nature of your mind. So therefore, to make the mind behave more naturally, in its initial form, we had to get rid of these unnatural behaviors. We call it the negativities. Purify negativities. For these things are taught there, like reciting 100-syllable mantras, Shri Vajrasattva, 100-syllable mantras, at least 100,000 times, and do as many hundreds of prostrations, and making hundreds of prostrations, without any thought of the reverence, reflect on the love and affection of Buddhas, versus making just like 10 prostrations with so much of reverence to Buddha's Bodhisattva. That is far more better than the making hundreds of prostrations. Okay, I have to do this gundo without this thought actually into this. Then it's like a physical exercise. It's not really a purification. And of course, you did it with the initial motivation of purification. It does help, but the purpose is much less accomplished. So every time you do in the best form. Okay. The next line reads, from your heart, make repeated requests to your root guru, who is indivisible from all the Buddhas of the three times. The actual practice. There are many ways to explain Mahamoudra, but they fall into two categories, Sutra and the Tantra Mahamoudra. Say Mahamoudra, so the purpose is to let this true nature of mind become manifest. So there are, one, the Sutra way of letting it manifest, and the Tantric way of letting it manifest. In Tantra, the various systems are indicated here. I'm going to read it. Tantric Mahamoudra is the Mahamoudra of Saraha, the great teacher Saraha, or in Nagarjuna, the great teacher Narupa, great teacher Maitripa. And in it, the clear light of great bliss is produced from skillful means. Okay, so the idea is the true nature of mind, the clear light of mind, is to be activated. So to activate this, what approaches are resort to, what approaches are taken, adopted, it says, such as penetrating the vital points of the Vajra body itself. Same what we discussed last time. Say your thought process, the psychic, the thinking affecting the physiology, vital parts of the body, meaning the physiology. And the physiology affects your subtle mind. Okay, this is one. So here it says that in this system, in the tantric system, the clear light of great bliss is produced, is activated from skillful means such as penetrating the vital points. Vital points meaning, for example, you visualize, you single-pointedly meditate on the syllables or drops or just the tiny line known as the period, the tiny line, the shape at your heart. But if not other techniques, you just visualize that, we're merged with your mind. As though like you are this tiny dot, you are this tiny, with the fun line. You just manifest yourself in this tiny line and focus single-pointedly. So with this power, then your thought process is affecting the physiology, and because of which the energy, the gross energy, they starts to dissolve into the central channel. Dissolve, enter, abide, and dissolve. As it dissolves, the gross ones dissolve, then the subtle minds manifests. And finally, the subtle clear light manifests. So this is how your cognitive single-pointed power with other techniques and how we do in the sutra system, like the usual mindfulness, these are too gross. This will not help us to maneuver the physiology. They cannot maneuver the physiology. It is only through a special technique, where this power of the single point is required. At the same time, many other techniques there are many techniques. So to employ that, So with this cognitive, the stability meditation, it affects the physiology. The physiology, literally the energy, actually you could feel that energy is moving within you. Literally you could feel the energy moving. And where you focus, the energy moves in that direction. Wherever you focus, it moves. You will feel that. Okay. And so with this, and the energy enter, abide, and dissolve. Of course, I'm not supposed to share with you in great detail, right? Okay. Because it requires the empowerment. Without empowerment, these are not entitled to be taught. The one who teaches will be in problem. One who receives this will be in problem. So why should both of us have problem? Yeah. Okay. So in other words, this is one technique employed. And whatever we do, particularly more complicated, we must follow the protocols. If you don't follow the protocols, you'll be in problem. It's not that, these teachings are, the confident. Why confidential? These are very precious. No, it's not about the precious. Yes, it's so precious. Precious, it is like, very extremely important medicines. More important medicines, more it should be taken away, kept out of the reach of the children. More important, because more important meaning that the chemicals inside, they are very complicated. If it is in the hand of, say, somebody who is not the right person, it can kill the person instead of helping. So therefore, it is said, keep out of reach of children. And we all like children. Yeah, so this is why this is maintain confidence. Not that, not to keep it away from you so that that person who is keeping it feels superior. No, if this is the intention, that person is small child. It's like the mother keeping all these stacks of medicines for the children, but not letting the child touch it. So the mother will not feel that I'm superior. This is the mother keeping just for the children. When they need, the mother will give. So this is how the enlightened beings, they keep the teachings. Okay. In it, the clear light, the clear light of the great bliss is produced from skillful means such as penetrating vital points. Vital points meaning various parts of the body, like the chakras and so forth. There, with the penetrative, the concentration. It's not just a penetrative concentration that you find taught in the sutra system, but these are something very unique that is taught in the tantra system, and these will be seen with the effect on your mind when your mind is ready. And every one of us, we have that capacity to reach that level where the very sophisticated the penetration of the mind on a body is very. We all have this potential, but only things that we should be ready. What do you mean by ready? Where, for example, look at Milarepa. He just succeeded in a few years after several years of the hardship that he went under the teacher. Then once the teacher started giving teachings, he got it very quickly. Why? Because number one, that's his. Of course, he is so well prepared from the past lives. These indications you can see. Even him before meeting his teacher, these indications are there. And his teacher also got the indication in his dream that, okay, the next day, his prospective student is going to come to see him. He already had the dream. And because according to this dream, he went there to receive the student in a very different form. Not as somebody receiving like this. No, as well like he's a farmer. He was just plowing the field with the hat on and just, as a farmer. And the prospective student comes. And he comes, may I know where Jesu Marpa is, the great teacher Jesu Marpa is. And then Jesu Marpa scanned him from top to the feet. like this. Scanned him. This is my student. He scanned. Then he said, yes, you can meet him. But you plow this field, drink this wine, plow this field. So meanwhile, then I will go to check with your teacher. Then he left. And Jismila did it so well. He plowed the land fully. He drank the alcohol fully. And finally, the young boy who Jismila met away like several hours ago, this boy came out and said that my father wants you to come up. Okay. Then he went there, which means his teacher. Then he saw it's the same person with the hat who was just plowing the field. That was the teacher. Then he said, yes, I'm the one. I came here to see you. Okay, now you can make prostrations. So he made the prostrations. So Jesu Marpa, he already had the dream of his prospective student. I don't think he must have so many students. Of this, I don't think he dreamt of each of the students. But with him, he dreamt. Jesu Milarepa, he dreamt. And then in the dream, he dreamt of his own teacher, Jesu Naropa, giving him a stupa, old, dirty stupa. And Jesu Naropa instructed him, clean the stupa and put it on the top of the mountain. This was the instruction that he got in the dream. And who was this stupa? Jesu Milarepa, very dirty because of negativities. And Jesu Marpa, then he cleansed the stupa in the dream. He cleansed the stupa. It became so beautiful, glowing. He put it at the top of the mountain and it simply radiated everywhere, all over the valley. So this was the dream. Okay, how many of your teachers dreamt of you? Okay, before you met the teacher. So these are the indications. In other words, what I'm saying, I don't mean to discourage you. I don't mean to discourage you, but the thing is that we should be balanced. Sometimes we just live in illusion. Oh, Joseph Miller will become enlightened in a single lifetime without study, extensive study and so forth. So why not we also follow this tradition? This is where we are going wrong. Look at the great Nyingma masters. Look at the great Sakya masters. Kagyu masters, they're real masters. They're expert in all the sciences. For instance, Naropa, he was the top scholar in Nalanda Monastery University. Top scholar. So all these great teachers, except for Jesu Milarepa, who went through all these hardships, and Jesu Marpa also himself, he went through tremendous hardship. So if you can bear, nowadays, if somebody a teacher is to beat you, you would complain 911 in America. So what is the number in France? 17. Okay, 17. Right? This is the student nowadays. This is the student. All right, Jesu Milarepa never pressed 17. Never pressed 911. Never. Right? Instead, Jesu Milarepa, look, he was receiving the beatings. He was going through all these manual works, bringing huge stone, huge rocks, and put to build the houses. And all his back were injured with sore. And they're not getting any teachings. Instead, the teachers showing anger. Not really anger, pretending. Angry and scolding. And then Jesu Milarepa thought, oh look, so now somehow I don't have karma to receive the teachings from my teacher. So while here, I'm making more negative karma. Not saying that my teacher is accumulating negative karma. He didn't say that. He thought that I'm making my teacher unhappy. Therefore, I'm accumulating more negative karma by staying here. I should leave, not because that he's unkind to me, because I'm creating problem to my teacher. This is the very different outlook. So if you belong to this category, then you can say that I can be like second Jesu Milarepa. Okay, so these are things that we need to keep in mind. Okay, with this in mind, It says that in it, the clear light of great bliss is produced from skillful means such as penetrating the vital points of the Vajra body itself. Vajra body meaning your body. Your body. Vajra is so precious. Vajra is the indestructible. Vajra means indestructible. Diamond. Diamond. Vajra has a connotation of indestructibility, inseparability. So this body, what we see as a very normal, fragile body, but it is through this body that you can become Buddha. This body is so precious. So, again, a reverence to the body, even with the label, Vajra body. It is a quintessence of highest Yoga Tantra taught in the corpus of essential works of the Mahasiddhas. So, how to activate this clear light mind? Clear the mind by, by penetrative focus on the vital points of the Vajra body. These are the essence of the teachings of the highest Yoga Tantra corpus. Sutra Mahamoudra is a way to meditate on emptiness, taught explicitly in the extensive, intermediate, and condensed Perfection Wisdom Sutra. So Perfection Wisdom Sutra, what we have today, we see that one is the most elaborate version. In Tibetan we call it Bum. Bum is 100,000. 100 verses. This is one. Then the next one is Niti. Niti is 20,000. 20,000 verses. This is the second, the intermediate one. And finally Ketomba as the 8,000. 8,000 the verses or the lines. So in these three sources, the Perfection Wisdom Sutras, we find the subject matter, primarily the emptiness. What is explicitly taught is emptiness. What is implicitly taught is the method side of the path. The Supreme Arya Nagarjuna has stated that there is no path to liberation other than this. Other than this meaning, other than the wisdom to see emptiness, other than professional wisdom of emptiness. So it is for this reason that all the paths toward the Buddhas can be classified into two. One is the liberating path and the ripening paths. So only the wisdom of emptiness is the liberating path, and all other forms falls under the ripening path, and including the activation of the clear-eyed mind, subject of clear-eyed mind. Even that is also a ripening path. It's not a liberating path. But the clear-eyed mind activated when it meets, when it realizes, when it becomes the wisdom to see emptiness, then it becomes the liberating path. The clear-eyed mind, when it sees emptiness, only then it becomes the liberating path. Otherwise, all others like bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, being frustrations, everything becomes the ripening path and not the liberating path. So why? Finally, the thing is that you have to wake up. Waking up is done by the professional wisdom. Waking up from the sleep of ignorance. So, till you wake up, whatever you in the dream, you may meditate on bodhicitta, you may meditate on, in the dream, you may meditate on bodhicitta, you may meditate on the clear light, you may activate the clear light. So all these things happen in the dream. And dream is where you are deceived. Where you can see the dream is real. So you are being tainted by the ignorance. So therefore, ignorance means that you are dark. You are yet to wake up. So only the wisdom of emptiness is the one which makes you wake up. Okay, but it doesn't mean that the wisdom of emptiness is supreme and the rest are secondary. No, it's like two wings. Which wing is more important, right or left? Right one? Right? Without the right, you cannot fly. It doesn't matter. With the right, without the left, again you cannot fly. So this is a meaning of the interdependency. So both are equally important. Liberating path as well as the ripening path. Both are equally important. Okay. The Supreme Arya Nagarjuna has stated that there is no path to liberation other than this. What is this? The professional wisdom. The professional wisdom or the wisdom of emptiness. Here, I'll give a commentary according to this to his intention and show how to introduce the natural mind in accordance with the statements of the lineage gurus. Okay, the first technique according to the sutras. Although called by many names. Okay, so this what we call as the Mahamoudra, or what we call as the Mahamoudra, activating the subject of clear light. So we see that it is practiced by many masters, and through their own experience, they give this experience different labels, such as, let's say, although called by many names, the same experience is described with different labels, different names. For example, innate union. Innate union is the label given by Jekambupa. And then the amulet box. So innate union, yes, it has connotation. Say the innate wisdom. Clear light is manifested, and it is union with the subject of clear light. Again, it makes sense. Amulet box. Amulet box means, what is the amulet box? In the amulet box, there is the very precious Buddha relics or the Buddha statues in it. So likewise, in our mind, outside the very gross mind, we have anger, attachment, and so forth, wakings the mind, very gross mind. Inside it, like the very clear water, say the dirty water, say the intrinsic nature of this water is not dirty, it's so pure. Is it there? Yes, it is there. It is in a dormant state. It's like hidden. So likewise, amulet, it hides the content. Whatever is put in the amulet, it is hidden by the surface of the box, amulet box. And the fivefold. So the fivefold. Then there are the different experiences to activate this. Say some relate this with the approaches like the fivefold approaches. Equal taste, that is by the church's Zambagyari. This one Kagyu master, he's very popular. Zambagyari, he used the word equal taste. Say, what we see here is that some are good, some are bad, and so forth. When you manifest this clear light, subject clear light mind, from this you see that everything is the nature of just this clear light mind. Everything is radiance of the subject clear light mind. And this clear light mind is only one taste. So everything is the same taste as the clear light mind, equal taste. And then the four syllables, again, these are the approaches to get to the subject clear light mind. And the pacifier. The pacifier, this is the Shije. This is by Padmasangye. Again, a great master, Padmasangye. Cutting off. Nowadays, people, there are many people who now go into this, the practice of the Chu. Chu is the Chu means cutting through. So what is the cutting? Cutting through the self-grasping ignorance, cutting the self-centered attitude, cutting the conceptualizations, and so forth. That is the Majik Lamdun. And then great perfection, which is Dzogchen. Counsel on the middle way view, which is on the emptiness view, and so on. When a yogi who is skilled in the scriptures and logic of definitive meaning, and who has experience, analyzes, all converge in a single intent. So, when Benjalop Sanchi is really amazing master. Wow, that's amazing. You read his text, it'll just take you to a very different world system. So beautiful. So from his experience, what he's saying is that, of course, he's he's expressing humility. He's saying that if somebody were to be, say, a learned person, really vastly learned, really somebody who's learned all these traditions, and then say from this tradition point of view, from this tradition point of view, from this tradition, when you try to activate these experiences, they all will boil down to the same point of the subject of clear light. So there's no difference at all in terms of what is being activated. So the traditions may differ, labels may differ, but the actual point, in terms of experience, is just the same. When a yogi who is skilled in the scriptures and logic of definite meaning and who has experience, if that yogi analyzes, then all these different traditions will converge in a single intent, single experience, same experience. Seeking the view after meditating on karma abiding. Okay, now this is, we're coming to the main part of the text. So it's here. Venerable Penja Losang Chökyen, he identifies two approaches there. Same, activating the subjective clear light and cognizing the objective clear light. What's objective clear light? Anybody? Yes, Evelyn.
So that's the consciousness which examines its own emptiness.
Okay, so Evelyn, do you mean the emptiness of the subjective clear light mind? Is this what he's saying?
C'est le clair lumière sujet, si j'ai bien noté, qui s'observe elle-même et qui comprend sa propre vacuité.
So it says if she right not, it's the subjective clear light which observes its own emptiness.
Okay, so basically I understand that what the Evelyn saying is correct, but we need to articulate it. Anybody else? Cyril?
Maybe it's the consciousness that goes from one life to another.
Okay, the subtle consciousness which travels from one life to the other, that is the objective clear light.
No, it's a subject.
Okay, my question is, what is the objective clear light? Okay, Guillaume?
C'est la vacuité de la claire lumière sujet. That's the emptiness of this clear light subject clear light.
Okay, so this is this where the articulation is required. Guillaume put it properly. So look, say the subjective clear light knowing the emptiness. Subject clear light knowing the emptiness. Now we can put the same thing in two different ways. Emptiness which is known by the subjective clear light. Then emphasis on emptiness. So what is objective clear light? It is the emptiness which is known by the subjective clear light. That is the objective clear light. Emptiness which is known by the subjective clear light is the objective clear light. So what Guillaume said is perfect. And what the Evelyn said, we just have to switch it from the subject clear light to the emptiness. In subjective clear light, knowing the emptiness, instead of that, emptiness which is known by the subject clear light. This is how we have to put it. Perfect? Good. Okay. So we see that there are two things. One is activating the subjective clear light. Other one is seeing emptiness, objective clear light. So objective clear light you need to get this objective clear light through rigorous analysis, analytical meditation. And the subjective clear light is discovered through single-pointed meditation. You're getting it? So it involves two things. First, we have to actualize the subjective clear light. And the other, we have to know the objective clear light. We have to do these two things. We need to understand the objective clear light. And the other one is, we have to activate the subjective clear light too. How do we get the objective clear light? We get through analytical meditation. Through analysis. Whereas subjective clear light, how do we get it? Is through single-pointed meditation. Meditation, there are two kinds. Single-pointed meditation and the analytical meditation. So objective clear light, which is emptiness. So this emptiness we get through rigorous analytical studies, analytical reflection, and analytical meditation through analysis. Whereas the subjective clear light is activated through pure single-pointed meditation. So objective clear light, you get it from the analysis, and the subjective clear light, you get it from this single-pointed meditation. Clear? Good. So these are two. So what would you do first? Both are possible. Both are possible. Some people, they first actualize the subjective clear light through single-pointed meditation. Once they get it, then they try to explore what emptiness is. They learn emptiness. Then subject clear light is already activated. Once they know the emptiness, then they use the subject clear light to see emptiness. So that is subject clear light in union with the objective clear light. So subjective clear light activated first, followed by searching for the objective clear light. This is one system. Another system is, first you learn what is emptiness. First you learn what is this objective clear light. What you learn the emptiness through analysis, rigorous analysis, study, reflection. Once you get it, once the emptiness is, the object is clear, then you activate. Then following that, you activate the subjective clear light. So there are two approaches. Of the two approaches, Venerable Jesuit Benjamin Losang Chuyen says that he's going to pick up the first approach, where first you activate the subjective clear light and then employ this, then to go into understanding what is the objective clear light. Okay. Page 121 English, the first line, seeking the view. View is the objective clear light. They're seeking the view. This is the objective clear light. The view of emptiness. Objective clear light. After meditation on karma abiding. Meditation karma abiding is the single point meditation. And the view is the analytical the exercise to understand, to get the view of emptiness. So, seeking the view after the meditation karma abiding to activate the subjective clear light mind. So first you do the activate subject clear light mind. Okay, it says, between the two approaches of seeking meditation on karma abiding, which is single point meditation, on the basis of the view, and seeking the view on the view. So first you activate the karma abiding to actualize the clear light mind. Then you seek the view. Number one. Then let's see. Seeking meditation on karma abiding on the basis of the view of which. Okay, let's see how the English works. Seeking the view on the basis of, which means the first one is, first you have the view. You get the view. You on the basis of view, meaning you already have the view. For example, like in the big monastic universities, they study emptiness so rigorously. And then many of these monks, they live for solitary retreats. Not too many. Particularly, I would say that I really appreciate some of the monks who are extremely learned. And then after some days, sit for Geshe degree, and then they leave for the mountains. They go to the personal retreats. Some, after studying the emptiness, which is about like 10 years, in some cases 10 years, some cases 12 years, after that, then they leave for lifelong retreats. These are amazing, particularly the very bright ones, extremely learned ones. When they leave, then my admiration, so my mind melts into admiration. Wow, it's amazing. These people, I don't know whether they'll become in this life, but for sure they'll realize emptiness and they'll join bodhicitta, for sure. That we can see. Yeah. Okay. There was one great teacher. In fact, generation-wise, it's like my teacher, my teacher's teacher, and my teacher's level. That's like me. You mean the first generation, the previous generation, previous. Yeah. Like 4 generations ahead. There was one teacher, and who was extremely refined philosopher, logician, and a psychologist. And after completing the Geshe, he left everything and went into personal solitary retreat. And then later on, he became so popular. So many students were attracted, and he is very strict with with what the Buddha taught. Say somebody is Rinpoche, say with say somebody who is identified as Rinpoche, Tulku, they come to him for his teachings. He would say that, okay, in my area, you are not Rinpoche. In my area, you should sit right below whoever is senior to you in terms of your monastic age. So you are not given, you don't take any the privilege as a Rinpoche. This is what he followed. In the so therefore, of course, even these Rinpoches who followed him, I would say these are real Rinpoches, because they have the label Rinpoche, but still they're also leaving everything to for lifelong retreat. Yes, there was one particular teacher, Rinpoche, the Pana Rinpoche. Pangu Rinpoche or Pana Rinpoche. I'm a little confused with the name. He himself was actually identified as a Tulku, as a Rinpoche. And after his studies, he followed this teacher. And the teacher said, hey, don't think that you are somebody Rinpoche. So the age-wise, seniority-wise, monks, whoever senior to, you have to sit below this, don't sit before that. And he was following his teacher. That is an amazing tradition. It's amazing. He is amazing. Okay. So these teachers, for example, let's say that we never know, but superficially speaking, what we can say is that they already got the view first. And then they go for personal retreats, go into the solitary retreats, lifelong retreats, to go to get the single point of meditation. So the view first, and the view first, and the stability practice, stability meditation later. In some cases, stability meditation first. On that basis, then the view is sought. So there are two versions. Whereas Penchen Losang Chökyi, in this text, he follows the stability first, followed by the view. Okay. So let's see. Between the two approaches, seeking meditation on karma body on the basis of the view, which means you already have the view. You already have the view of the emptiness, and then like this great teacher, you already have the view, and then you go into the solitary retreat to get the single point of meditation. Okay, this one. Number two, seeking the view on the basis of meditation. So you have the already karma body meditation there. You actualize the subject clear light, and then you seek the view on the basis of the clear light, subject clear light. You seek the view of the wisdom, the view of the emptiness. Seeking the view on the basis of the meditation on the karma body. The explanation here follows the second approach, that is, seeking view after. First, you cultivate the single point meditation to activate the subject clear light, and then look for the view. This is the approach that Venerable Penchen Losang Chökyi is adopting here when explaining this text. But for us, it is not necessary this should be the case. For us, the best thing for us is that we can't expect, for example, say so most of us, we have your job, you have your work, you have family to attend to. So for this, we can't really go into the solitude like this. So we're already there, and then what we do is that somehow the distractions are there, somehow the disturbance. I won't say distractions. Distractions also there. Disturbance, sound, and the people look. So that is very important. Wisdom of emptiness. Wisdom of emptiness requires the extremely agile mind. And your mind how agile the mind is depends on the agility of your body, the brain. And younger the body, younger the brain, more agile the brain. More agile the brain, more agile the mind. So wisdom of emptiness requires extremely agile, sophisticated the mind or the brain. And for this single point of meditation, and I personally would say that if somebody is going to the Himalaya or in solitary meditation, then I may suggest something different. But for people, people like us who are in the city, taking care of your family, taking care of, they say for example, like people like Venerable Elizabeth, so they're taking care of the whole center, doing so much of service. So this where your mind is actually being stabilized, making your mind very fertile to practice these in the future. So otherwise, for other people, your own life, working for your own life, working for your own livelihood, it doesn't mean that you are wrong. You have to become like the second Venerable Elizabeth. There's not a connotation. But if you can, do it. If you cannot, stay connected with whatever center is close by your place, like Kalachakra Center, or if you're close by, say, the Ben, closer to Dhamma Friends of Israel, and then Ajala, the James Center is there, and the online Wise Tibet House is there, and for Anna, Tibet's online, not Tibet House in the Barcelona is there. You're not from Barcelona. Okay. So what I'm saying is that be connected, and make the most. Make the most doesn't mean that what benefit I'll get from the center. Not that. So what you can offer to the center. This is actually what you benefited from the center. Right? Okay, this is one thing. Then the next is that close to a center with a residential teacher like Geshe Chundula is there, just see how much you can get the view. Get the view. Because for the view, you need a lot of help from teachers. For the samadhi, you do need help, but samadhi, if you are given instruction, just follow the instructions, and it's not that sophisticated. For nuances, you need help. To see where you're heading towards, you need help, but that can be fixed, like not really required extensive teachings, but once in a while, you need somebody to really see that, okay, you are in this direction, this has to be like this, twisted like this. A little bit of modification and help is required. Otherwise, for the view, you require a lot of help. By being close to a center, they say doing some basic programs and so forth, this is extremely useful, beneficial. So I learned that Kalachakra has a basic program. This is amazing. Just keep doing this, and don't feel that I already did the basic program. You do it twice, 3 times, 4 times. As long as you are close to the center, you continue doing it. And meanwhile, as you become more learned, then help the newcomers. Yeah. Okay. The next is sitting 9 round breathing, refuge and bodhicitta. Okay, we'll stop here. And in the afternoons, in fact, Tibet House for the Nalanda certificate course, the topic is just the emptiness, and we are also doing the objective clear light. So objective clear light requires more extensive studies. We're going to spend, they say, like, if not 2 sessions, but at least 1 session on emptiness. So this afternoon we have the Tibet's NCC. This is for, and it'll suffice for our course also. Okay. Deata Om Gade Gade Paragate Parasam Gade Bodhi Swatyata Om Gate Gate paragate parasamgate bodhisvatyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisvatyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisvaha